Hello, everybody, and welcome. Thank you for so much for joining me. This is Yisrael Levitt, here from Virtual Kollel, and broadcasting to you from beautiful historic Hudson, Wisconsin, and the Synagogue of Beth Emmanuel. So, and today's the second day. Today's the second of Sivan, and the month of Sivan, and we're looking forward to the holy time of Shavuot, in which we are going to be commemorating the giving of the Torah, Matan Torah, and also the giving of the Ruach, Matan Ruach, as well, the Ruach HaKodesh, the Spirit, the Holy Spirit that was poured out on the early Yeshua believing community, and you can reference this in the book of Acts, chapter 2. Anyways, without further ado, let's go ahead and I'm going to share my screen with you guys. Basically, just going to do a little bit of an informal overview of some of the customs and laws of Shavuot. Let's go ahead and take a look here. And I'm going to share this screen, which is going to cause a little kind of inception thing right there, but then out of it. So this, by the way, is the BethEmmanuel.org/Kollel page. And as you can see right here, this is today's lesson, the lesson that I'm doing right now, basically. And what's happening down here, here's the links, and these are the links of what I'm going to be using throughout, the next few days as we march straight up into Shavuot. And so here is the main site that I'm going to be looking at today from Or Sameach. It's a educational institution in Eretz Yisrael, in the land of Israel. And we're going to be reviewing Rabbi Eliyahu Kitov's Sefer, which I forget its name, in called the Book of Our Heritage in English. And yesterday we went through some of these customs here of Shavuot, and so today what we're going to do is just maybe kind of see how far we get through some of these things. So I'm just going to take a very simple approach. I'm just going to read through it, and unfortunately there's not anybody here that's going to be making comments with me live. And unfortunately, we're not exactly set up. Oh, by the way, let me go ahead and add a, let's see here. Let me go ahead and add this so you guys can see my smiling face. Here we are. Okay. And so, by the way, if you see this right here, this is a name tag. We have our national convention, FOZ, First Fruits of Zion. That's a name tag there for the convention. So anyways, so here are the reasons for eating milk foods on Shavuot. So Shavuot is an extension of Pesach. So obviously we all know that from the second night of Pesach, you count 50 days, and then you get to the holiday of Shavuot. And it's an extension of Pesach and its conclusion. Just as we eat two cooked dishes on Pesach in memory of the Paschal lamb and the Chagiga offering of Pesach. So now what is he talking about right here? So basically every festival had what's known as a Chagiga, Korban Chagiga, a Chagiga offering. Chagiga just comes from the word lechog, which means to like celebrate or things like that. The festival, like the festivals are called chag, okay, which is kind of a little unfortunate because it sounds like something different in English. If you take out the guttural like hog, but anyways, so basically the idea here is just that there were two offerings that were specific to Passover. The first one was the Korban Todah, the Korban Pesach, the Paschal offering. And so obviously, since we don't have a temple, God willing, Mashiach will come and we'll have a temple very soon, quickly, speedily in our days. But until then, we every year have a Paschal during Pesach, during the Seder. We have as two things to remember those offerings that are made in the temple. The first for the Paschal lamb, as he says here, and that's the shank bone, the shoulder bone of some people have of is is pointing out, likewise, we eat 2 cooked foods on Shavuot, one a milk dish and the other a meat dish. Since one may not eat from the same loaf of bread with meat and milk dishes, this custom is a memorial of the 2 breads brought on Shavuot. And that's according to the Ramah, Rabbi Moshe Isserles. The Ramah, by the way, is the Ashkenazi commentator on the Shulchan Aruch, the Code of Jewish Law. So basically what's happening here is he's referencing that on the holiday of Shavuot, which is really the culmination of like this long season of Pesach, B'Yetzias Mitzrayim, and then they like march all the way to Mount Sinai, etc. To receive the Torah. So basically, what happens there to commemorate that the Torah prescribes that we bring 2 chalot, bring 2 loaves of bread as an offering on Shavuot, which is basically one of the only 2 times in the entire year that chametz, that leaven, is brought on the altar. By the way, Shavuot and the other time when you bring a korban todah, when you bring a Thanksgiving offering. So basically, the Ramah is saying that the 2 meals, one that's a meat meal, which you would normally have during holidays, and the other one's a dairy meal. And so they're to symbolize the 2 loaves of the offering, of the wave offering, which kind of just like a lulav, you shake it all the 6 directions, etc. When you bring it to the offering, when you bring the offering into the temple. So that's reason number 1 for eating milk foods on Shavuot that Rabbi Kitov gives. He brings another reason from Sefer Matamim, so the book of reasons, basically. The day when Moshe was drawn out of the water was the 6th of Sivan. Okay, so this is maybe according to a medrash. And he was willing to be nursed only by a Hebrew woman. Therefore, we recall this merit of his through eating of milk foods on the same day. And so obviously, it's a very, very strong custom to eat dairy on Shavuot, at least the night of Shavuot specifically. And so Rabbi Kito was trying to give some reasons why. The third reasons from the Geulat Yisrael, till the giving of the Torah, the Jews were permitted to eat meat of animals which were not kosher, as well as meat of animals that have not been slaughtered in accord with the laws of Shechita. After the giving of the Torah, Shechita, which is ritual slaughter, and the laws of forbidden foods were prescribed for them, since all their utensils and dishes and etc. thereby became prohibited, and they were unable to make them kosher. They can only eat milk food. So it's a little bit of an anachronistic idea here, but there is an idea of toveling dishes, of taking dishes that were previously used by pagans and immersing them, etc., and using them. So there is this idea in the Torah itself of having the idea that dishes contract at least impurity, from ritual impurity, I should say, from pagans and things like that. And so, anyways, take that reason number 4. Take it with a grain of salt. You can take it or leave it. I'm not selling it. You don't have to buy it. And number 4, the numerical value of the Hebrew letters which constitute the Hebrew word for milk is chalav. Chet lamed vav. Chet lamed veit. Okay, and they add up to 40. So chet would be 8, lamed would be 30, and veit would be 2. So it adds up, 8 plus 30, 38 plus 2, 40. And they correspond to the 40 days spent by Moshe on Mount Sinai. So anyway, so those are some reasons given in Rabbi Kitov's Sefer why we would eat dairy on Shavuot. So now he's going to talk a little bit about Matan Torah, the giving of the Torah. And this is, I think, is just a short kind of essay of his. Yeah. So let's go ahead and take a look here. And maybe I think we'll just get through this section and we'll leave the balance of it for tomorrow. At the time of the giving of the Torah, all Israel guaranteed for each other. How? When God wished to give the Torah to Israel, he said to them, "Give me guarantors that you will observe the Torah." So, okay, I'm going to give you the Torah, but why should I give it to you? What's going to make me think that you're actually going to keep it? Okay, so said they to him, "Are not the patriarchs guarantors for us?" So Hashem responded, "They are indebted to me, Would that they be able to stand for themselves. The matter is likened to one who needs a loan. He was told, bring a guarantor and take as much as you wish. Whereupon he went and brought someone who was also indebted to the lender. His would-be creditor then said, you have brought someone who is indebted to me. Would that he be able to stand for himself? Come and bring one who is not indebted to me. So that's the idea. So like if we want to say, well, okay, the patriarchs, the avot and the imahot, the patriarchs and the matriarchs, they, as I like to say, the mamas and the papas, they basically, are, said that, okay, well, they're going to be our guarantors, but then Hakadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem, basically said, look, they're indebted to me as well, so that's not going to work. So thus said God to Israel, have you brought me the patriarchs who themselves owe me a variety of debts as guarantors? Rather, give me guarantors who are indebted, who are not indebted to me. And who are those who are not indebted to me? He said to them, the children. They immediately brought him the children. God said to them, do you stand as guarantors that if I give your parents the Torah, they will observe it? And if not, will you be responsible for them? They answered, yes. Said he, I am the Lord your God. And they answered, yes. So it's a little bit of the medrash right here, the midrash. Why the Torah was given in the wilderness, and they encamped in the wilderness. So we see from Shmot, it says V'yishchan Sham b'midbar Sinai, in the Hebrew. They encamped there in the wilderness. In the wilderness of Sinai. The Torah was given freely, publicly, in an ownerless place. For had it been given in the land of Israel, the nations of the world would say that they have no portion in it. Therefore, the Torah was given in this manner, so that whoever wishes to accept it may come and accept it, which is kind of a beautiful idea, if you think, for our movement, for the Messianic movement, for those Yeshua followers from the nations who have been brought in through the Messiah, that basically they have the opportunity, and definitely according to this midrash, to take on the Torah. If it had been given in the land of Israel, the people of Israel would have said to the nations, you have no portion in it. It was not given in the land of Israel in order not to create dissension among the tribes. Okay, so that's another thing. So each one of the land of Israel was broken up into 12 different sections. Each section, each chelek, was for a shevet, for a tribe. And so obviously, if it would have been given in the land of Israel, the question would have been, it's like, okay, well, we want it in our shevet, in our tribal region, we want it in our tribal region, etc. So that's what's being spoken to right here. It was not given in the land of Israel in order not to create dissension. Okay, we read that. And why was it given in the wilderness? Just as the wilderness is empty of all luxuries, likewise do the words of the Torah endure us only with one who refrains from all luxuries. I am the Lord your God. Why were the 10 commandments said in singular? Okay, so that's a very interesting thing, because it says, avicha imecha. So your father, so kabed et avicha ve'et imecha. Honor your singular father and mother. Let's see here. Shomer Shabbat. I forget exactly the words, but basically says everything in the singular, to teach you that each and every Israelite should say the 10 commandments were given for my sake, and I am obligated to fulfill them, and that one should not say it is sufficient for the Torah to be fulfilled by others. So that's a really interesting idea, because really the obligation is upon the individual, I think, is really, what he's trying to say there. So it's kind of like the idea that if you have, 10 Jewish people, in a community, 10 Jewish men to make the minyan, in a community, right? So a community with exactly 10 Jewish men is, always going to have a minyan. Why? Because, every day, everybody knows, each one of those 10 people knows that, it's up to me. I'm responsible for making the minyan. Maybe I'm the third guy, maybe I'm the seventh guy, maybe I'm the 10th guy, but I got to be there. I got to make up the quorum of 10 men that's required to go ahead and have public prayers. But as the story goes, in walks an 11th man, or in moves an 11th man, and they never have a minion again. Why? Because everybody says, well, this other guy will go, I'll be the one that sleeps in today. And so the idea here is just that, no, we can't push off doing mitzvot to other people, even though we do have, we do mitzvot, we're yotzi, what's called yotzi, through other people, and we have somebody that acts as a shliach. For instance, like most men don't circumcise their own sons, even though that's what the mitzvah is supposed to be. They do it al yidei shliach. They do it through an agent who does it for them. But really, the idea here is that the mitzvahs are supposed to be done by me, and this is why some people have the custom that even in public gatherings, they like to do the individual mitzvot for themselves. So, for instance, if there's a community and somebody says kiddush sanctifies a holiday or Shabbat, on behalf of everybody, there are those that like to do their own personal kiddush. Why? Because of basically this idea that each one is individual, each person is individually responsible for a mitzvah. You shall have no other gods. Rabbi Eliezer said, other gods, they fashion for themselves new gods daily. If one of them had a golden god and he needed the gold, he made himself a silver god. If he had a silver god and needed the silver, he made one of copper. If he had a copper god and needed the copper, he made one of iron and lead. And thus it is said, new gods that came up of late. So anyways, thank you so much for joining me today. This just very short, 10, 15 minutes time together, reviewing some of the customs and laws of the holiday of Shavuot. You should have wonderful, joyous Shavuot holiday coming up, and all of us should be together with Mashiach Tzidkenu, our righteous Messiah. And everybody said, Amen. This is Yisrael Levitt here for Virtual Kollel, and see you tomorrow.